welcome back, YouTubers. Another night, and let's just dive right into it. And last time we left off, we did a compression check, and it turned out to be crappy. So what we're going to do is just dive right in here and start taking stuff apart. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get this coolant bottle out of here, because we got to take the alternator off, the power steering, and this big bracket that you see right here. Once we get this off, then we'll have real good access into these heads. So we'll go ahead and do that. And what I've done, there's a 10mm bolt right there you got to take out right here on this, right there where my finger is. And I've got it kind of sitting right there. Got to take that out. And there's one right there, but mine's pretty rusted. And it just basically came off the frame. And you got a hose that goes there. Just kind of pop that guy off and maybe set it off to the side. You got to remember that hose there goes back into the plenum. Where that tube is, and you got a tube there we got to take off, and it's kind of sitting there off to the side. Now we got this big one down here on the bottom. There's a great big one sitting there. What I do is, if you don't have a pair of these guys here, these are pretty nice to have. Get your big pair of pinchers and just kind of get down there. There's a clamp. I've already took it off, and I think if I zoom in there, you'll see the clamp. It is right there. That's the clamp that's on there. Just get your pair of pinchers and squeeze it and slide it out of the way, and you will be able to take that hose off. And I just take a big screwdriver like this and get on there and just push on it until it comes off. And it'll probably, there we go, we got it off. Now you'll probably get a little bit of coolant loss, but I've drained mine, and out it comes, and it looks like a mud pie there, doesn't it? Horrible. Wow, I'll be doing a lot of flushing in this engine. So we'll set that off to the side along with our bolts. And now we can go ahead and start taking off some stuff here. Some power steering bolts. And let's see, I get my light set up here. Go ahead and take this alternator off. What we'll do first is go ahead and take off the belt. There is a bolt right here on this pulley. We will actually, down here on the bottom, there's a bolt right there on the idler arm. We'll put a 15 on that, and we'll twist it back, and we'll go ahead and pull this belt off. Although I think this one is broken because I have way too much slack in my belt. It was making noise, so I'll probably have to replace that. So let me go ahead and get my 15 wrench, and we'll take that belt off. Alright, there's how I do it. I just get a 15 wrench and stick on there and get your secondary wrench and pull back like this. And that will let that flex enough where you will have enough tension slack here left. As you can see, I can slide this belt off of the pulley like that. Now, the problem is I've got here, this one is locked up. That tensioner down there is completely trashed, so I couldn't move it very far. But I moved it enough to get this belt off. But I will have to replace that, it looks like. Okay. Out comes the belt. We'll put it off to the side. And now we'll go ahead and start taking off some brackets here. And now I have access into some of my pulleys. And we'll go ahead and take the alternator. I think what we'll do is go ahead and take the alternator off next. Alright, now for the alternator, I went ahead and hooked this 10mm bolt that has a hot wire that goes on the back of it. And I've got it kind of pushed off to the side right there. Then you got a clip here. Take that off. Then around front. You got a 15mm bolt here we got to take off. And you got this bracket is a 14mm nut there. Take that off. I've loosened some of these up just to make the video a little faster. Then there's the other alternator bolt right there. It's a 14mm. And once we take that off, we'll just take a pry bar or a big screwdriver. In most cases you can just push up on that, but I'm going to have to get my big one there real quick. Alright, out it comes. There we go. And when you go to put it back in, just a little tip here, get you a hammer and just kind of knock that back in a little bit. That way you won't be fighting with it. This moves back and forth. And it'll make your life a little easier. And we'll just set the alternator off to the side over here, along with the other brackets that I have. And then we'll go ahead and start working on this power steering and these other brackets and get this whole unit off of here so we can go ahead and get closer into the heads. And now I've decided to go ahead and take this bracket off here, this motor mount. This will make life a little bit easier. There's a bolt way down there. There's a little 14. I think you can see it right there. get my hand on it there. I've already loosened it. I'll take that off. And this will really free us up a lot of room here. It's 5 minutes of extra work, but it'll save you an hour later down the road. Take this out. This is a 13, I believe. Let's see. Check the socket here. This one here is a 13. Okay, those are 13 millimeter sockets. Now we take this out. Pull this out. We'll set this off to the side. Alright, now what I've done so far, I've taken that bracket off there like I showed you. I've decided to go ahead and deal with this fuel rails right now, these injectors. I disconnected it right there off the fender. I'm not sure what that is. It looks like some kind of filter. I have to research that. That's kind of an interesting looking gadget there. But you got a wire going there, just unhook it, pull it off to the side, and what this will do is free this up a little bit. There's this big wiring harness right here that we're going to disconnect. There's a 10 millimeter bolt on it right there. Once we take that bolt out back there, we can eventually snake this wiring harness around and throw it off to the side. But right now, I think what I'm going to do is go ahead, since I've already got this loose, I'm going to go ahead and get this power steering unit off. This unit will come off as a whole unit with this bracket. Some of these, you can just take the bolt off and pull the power steering off. But this has to come off with this bracket. So there's 3 or 4 bolts down here and a couple of these pulleys I've got to take off. And then I have to disconnect a power steering hose down there. And let's see, there's one right there, an 18 millimeter wrench I got to get on there and get that off. And I got a hose I got to slide off. And once we actually get this bracket off, believe it or not, the hard part's done. Everything else is real easy to get into. But right now, it's all about trying to figure out which to do first. So it doesn't really matter if you fool with the wires or do the power steering. But I'm going to go ahead and do the power steering since there's a couple of bolts down there. It looks like they're going to be kind of rusty. I'll go ahead and get this off, push this off to the side, then we'll deal with these wires. And those fuel rails, then we should be able to get in there. So let's get to it here and see if we can get this power steering unit off out of the way. Okay, we got this pulley out of the way. That's good. We'll set it off to the side. And now we'll go ahead and take that tensioner off right there. That is a T50, I believe. We've got to get a big star for that. Alright, as you can see, I got that bolt just about out. And it looks like this is ready to come out. And once you get this out, then it really frees up even more room. And there's only a couple more bolts left there. And that power steering unit will come out once I unhook the belt. Unhook the connections, the hoses in the back, and you can see how long that is. And here's what you got to have. I will correct. Yes, a T50. You got to have one of these guys. You don't use the security bits, but if you have one, it's all you got. Well, then try it because these aren't really that strong. I just happen to have these, but they also make these without the little hole in the middle. These are security bits, but like I said, they make the solid ones that are really heavy duty to break bolts like that loose. But it is out, and now we'll go ahead and get in there and see if we can loosen up a couple more bolts. And let's see. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We'll go ahead and unhook these power steering lines back here. It's easier to do this now once that unit is still connected. That way I'll have a lot of leverage to work with. Okay, it wasn't as bad as I thought. I know you're saying whatever. But I took an 18 wrench. I got this loose and I just pulled it back. Disconnected my hose right there, and I think you can see it right there. And I got a bucket under the car, not much leaking out. So all this is disconnected back here, and on the front, I broke loose this guy here. This is a stud that goes in there. The nut will come off, but the stud will stay in the block. I'll show you how to take it off. And there's one under there, hidden, right about there. Let's see if I can get my camera zoomed in here right. Gosh, where's my finger? Let's see. There we go. It is right there. See that stud right there? That one there? That's the other one we got to take out. So what we do, let's see. Is there one more there? Okay, yeah, it's just those two. The other one I already took out. It was actually on the puller, the idler. It had a long bolt there that holds it in there, I believe. Let me think here. Oh, I'm sorry. No, there's one more. One more stud bolt. Not stud bolt, a regular bolt. It is hidden. If I can find it, there is hidden right there. See the bottom of it right there? It's hidden. It's a 15. Right there. We got to take that out. But first thing we're going to do, let's go ahead and take these studs out. We'll leave that one in because these studs will be a lot easier to take out with this other bolt still in on the bottom. So let's take those studs out and I'll show you how I do it here. Hold the camera with one hand, and I apologize if I'm a little shaky. It's tough to do this and be by yourself. So take the nut off the stud on the bottom, because if you don't have a stud socket, one of those roller bearing type things, you can't get these studs out. So there's the nut, and there's the other stud we got to take out. Just break that bolt loose a little bit. Take your other stud, your other nut, and screw on her like this, and get a wrench. I'll have to go hunt my 15 up real quick. Let's see, where is it? There. Let me hunt my 15 up real quick. And get your wrench, like I said, and just go ahead and take that nut there and put it on there, and it'll turn this whole thing. Surprisingly, mine was very loose, and just about got it out. Take that nut back off. I don't need that on there now. Well, maybe I do. Let's see if I can. Nope. I'm going to have to put the nut back on there. And we're going to have to do the same thing with the bottom one. I hope I'm explaining this the best I can so you will understand. There we go. This is how you take the stud off. Like that. And you can see this whole unit is already loose. It's pretty much ready to come off. And we'll do the same thing on the bottom. I'm going to have to set the camera down and do it with my both hands, but you can see that's coming out. And the other one is up under there. You'll have to get your wrench and go under here like this, turn it upside down. Or if you have a short one, it'll work out pretty good. Take that nut off and get that stud out there. Then we only have one bolt down on the bottom to take out, which is back there, and this whole unit will fall off. But I'll show you that here in a second. Alright, there comes the stud. Alright, there it's out. And there's how it's kind of set up. I don't understand why they didn't put an end on it where you can actually grab it with a little socket or something. Really stupid design, but what am I going to do? Now you can see this whole unit is ready to come off. It's loose. I just got this one bolt on the bottom to take off, and we'll slide it out. Right. I think you can see my finger there. There's the bolt. Pull it out. And there it is. Now we can lift this out. So if I can do it with one hand and camera on the other. And there it is. It's out. And like I said, on the back, you got your power steering line and your high pressure line. And we'll just set this off to the side somewhere along with our bolts. Like I said, you might have a little trouble getting these off, but typically they're not in there very tight, so just be aware of those bolts. And now, as you look here, we have real good access into our head. Like I said, the hardest part's done. There's a little fly in the ointment, though, a little bit of a catch-22. That exhaust, I'm not sure how I'm going to unbolt it yet, but I got oil soaking down there on the manifold bolt. If I can find it there, let's see. Well, I'm just wasting time here, wasting your time. But in theory, I should be able to shine my light right there and find it for you. There it is. I got oil soaking on it, so if I put a little heat on it, I'm hoping it'll break loose, but we'll see. And there's two in the back, on the back side back here that we have to take off, and it should be pretty easy to get to. So now we're going to go ahead and take this wiring harness off, and the valve pan covers and the injectors. I'm hoping I can take the injectors off with the intake, but I'll let you know how that goes here in a second. I'm not sure which I'll do first, but at least we got all this out of here. And the only good news here is for me is someone actually put a water pump on it. But yeah, the head gasket was toast on it. So let me figure out what we're going to do here next, and we'll come back and I'll let you know. Okay, we're moving right along. Good news is I thought I was going to have to unhook that wiring harness and fish it around the engine and all that. because there's a bolt in there. I told you earlier that we might have to take out right there. You don't have to do that. I basically just took these wires that were, you got your AC wire, O2 wire, and a couple of the wires that go actually down here below the power steering. I just unhooked those, and if you can't get your fingers in there, get you a long screwdriver and kind of push down on those little clips right there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's how I release those. You will have to use both your hands. And I just kind of snaked it up there, and I got a bungee cord right there from a wiper, and there's that whole wiring harness. And you can see it's away from the engine, and now I can get in here and take off the intake. I can take the intake and the fuel rails off all in one unit. And these head bolts, I should say the intake bolts, are little they're stars. I'm going to have to go get my vacuum cleaner and clean out all these little nuts and stuff where the squirrels apparently made a nest. And we'll take those bolts off, we'll take the intake off, and then we'll start taking the manifold off and the back. Now I just tested that bolt right there that I was worried about. That bolt does turn, so I can break it loose. That is going into the manifold on that side. So that's a bit of good news. The only two bolts I'm worried about right now, like I said, is right there. I'm going to see if I can break those loose. Well, I got oil soaking on them. If I can break those loose, and we'll have these heads off here shortly. So for now, we'll go ahead and pull this intake off. Let me clean this nest out, and we'll pull this off. I got all my intake bolts off. They're little 45 star bits. You got to use those. And let's see. Let me look here and see if that was the correct size. I'm pretty sure it was. They're pretty big. And of course, I've just now misplaced it. So, oh, here it is, right in front of me. Yeah, you gotta have one of these guys here. Those bolts are not in very tight. They, like I said, they are 45s. They are loose. And also, to take this valve pan cover off, you gotta have a little deep well, and it's got to be a 8mm deep well, because if you look closely, some of these bolts are pretty long, so you gotta have something pretty deep. Now, before we take this intake off, we got to go ahead and pull these covers off. I've already loosened this up, so it'll save us some time. And look at that. Yep. Definitely some moisture in that engine, huh? We'll set that off to the side. And now we'll go ahead and take this front one off, because we have to take these off before we pop the head off. Yeah, it looks like a swimming pool. Wow. Yeah, I definitely would say there was a gasket issue or something here. And now we can go ahead and pull this intake up, and I'm going to set my light here. I think the lighting is sufficient. I'll go ahead and take my little bar, kind of pry up here. Alright, she's loose. And I'll lift it out with one hand, and we'll set it off to the side. Here we go. And one other quick note. This is your cam synchronizer gear. Just unplug the wire. Just leave it in it. You don't need to take this out. This intake will slide past it. Oh, I left the bolt in there. My bad. Now we'll just simply lift this up. Of course, I will probably, well, I got another bolt way in here somewhere I can't see. Let's see. Hang on a second, I got another bolt there I didn't see. Okay, not quite ready to come out. I forgot to unhook this hose right here. And you got a couple connectors. And in order for this intake to come off, actually we've got to take all these push rods off and these rocker arms and set those off to the side. Then pull these little push rods out, and then this intake will come out, because those push rods kind of catch there on the side of that intake. They have little holes going down through there. So let me take those off real quick. Then we can take this intake out. All right, now I've got all my rocker arms and push rods off, and I've got them setting off to the side. I know exactly how they go back on, and I recommend you do the same thing. You don't want to get those messed up. And now we can simply just pull up on the intake, and it should come off. And like I said, be careful with your your synchronizer gear there. You got to pull side. There we go. Okay, and there's our intake. Voila. Let's flip it over real quick. You got to remember, you got a couple of things here. You got a couple of sensors, and you got another water tube, and I will degrease this and clean it up over the next couple of days. And there's the bottom of the intake. Now the plastic thing that sits on top of that is called the plenum. Sometimes I say the opposite, but it's because I'm getting old. So it looks like it's in pretty decent shape. we'll set it off the side. We'll have to get some gaskets for it later and clean that baby up. Now here is the engine and the bottom of the intake, and wow, look at that. That's pretty cruddy there, and it's a lot of debris in there, so I'm going to have to be cleaning that out. So get this head off here in a little bit and see what's going on. And I'm going to look in these cylinders. Sometimes you can figure out which cylinder is actually bad. Let's see. Looks like, yeah, it's definitely right there. It's these two cylinders right there because they're nice and wet and clean in there. These over here are just black, which they've been burning normally. So we don't have too much more here to do to take this head off. So we'll go ahead and get this manifold off. We'll pull this front head off here and see what it looks like. So far not too bad. Just got to take your time at it. Okay, I thought I'd go ahead and try to break those bolts loose, and like I said, I had oil soaking on them, and I used my ratchet and a little bit of a pipe that I have here, and would you believe I broke both of those loose? Can't believe it. I never have luck like that. And you can see there's the other one. Let me put the socket over there. These are actually, let me see what size socket that is on these bolts. I recommend if you're going to take those off, let them soak in oil for a while. It does help. And this is a 15 deep well, and I think you can see there, it's turning. So that is going to be a big relief. So once I get these two bolts out, these nuts off, then we'll go ahead and pop this head off. So it looks like we'll have this head off here in a few minutes. I will have to take this nut off here because it holds this power steering return line, high pressure line on. Take that off there, then this whole unit should come out. So go ahead and take these nuts out real quick. I got the nut off there that was holding this high pressure return line for the power steering. And I got my dipstick bolt off there. Go ahead and pull it out. Sometimes you gotta pull on a little hard and to get it out, but there it is. We'll set it off to the side, and all we gotta do now is go ahead and so we got 2, 4, 6, 8 bolts there. And pull this out, pull the head off, and can't believe we'll almost have half of this done here. So let me go ahead and loosen those bolts off, and we'll pop the head off. All right, got all my head bolts out. They were just 13 deep wells, sockets, and I used a 1/2-inch breaker bar, and they're pretty long. Now they recommend that you reuse these bolts, but I'm gonna have to check and see. I don't know if it's for this particular car. But you got to check the threads and make sure they're not stretched or anything. And mine look okay, but I'm going to see what they tell me about these bolts. And don't forget, when you get ready to pop this off, you have a hose, EGR valve. It's like a connector that goes to this right here. This EGR stuff, we talked about that earlier in the first video. Just make sure that's unhooked. And this is ready to come out. I'm going to set the camera down here. And I don't think you're going to be able to see much, because I've got a lot of stuff piled up on the car here. Let me just go ahead and grab it and lift it up. I've already broke it loose. Oh, and there it comes. Oh, and out it is. Oh, all right. I'll grab the camera. And there's the head. And there's the cylinders. And I think the gasket is on the other. The gasket's probably still in the head. I'll flip this over. And there's the head, and there's the gasket. And, well, let's see. Well, there's a place that's bad. That would definitely cause a problem there. Yeah, there's a place. Let's see. So the front one was bad, and I didn't know it. So definitely a bad head gasket here. Pop that off there. Yeah, this gasket is done, D-O-N-E. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to clean this up, and I'm going to take a straight edge. I want to make sure it's not warped or anything. It's very important to make sure they're not warped and all that. And I don't see any cracks or anything. But hey, we got this off. How about that? And let's look at the cylinders here real quick. I don't see anything going on there. The walls look pretty good on the cylinders. I even see the scratch marks from the factory. And I don't feel any ridges anywhere, so that is good. So now what we got to do is go ahead and pull the back one off. It shouldn't take very long. Go ahead and take a couple bolts out, and we'll pop the head bolts out. I'm not going to show you how to do that because you already know how to do that. And let's see, I will have to unhook one tube right here. Then I'm just going to pull this whole EGR valve unit off. Well, actually, you know what? I can get a wrench right there now. I can just break that off. And if I can break this loose, then I can just push that off, and this head should come off. And I'll take the oxygen sensor off with it. There's the one bolt I was telling you about, and there's one right back behind the oxygen sensor. Easy to get to. These actually broke loose. I couldn't believe it. And I guess we'll go ahead and pull this back head off. It'll be interesting to see what that gasket looks like there, but yeah, you can see where it was leaking right there. So, car's only got 145,000 miles on it, but hey, who knows? All right, enough talking here. I know you want to get off the computer and go to bed, so let me go ahead and take this back head off and we'll look at that gasket real quick. All right, now the back head is pretty much ready to come off. Now, in order to get this head off, those bolts there were pretty easy to take off. I was shocked. They broke loose pretty good. I put a pipe on them and a good 15 socket, and they both came out. So, as you can see there, that is free from the exhaust. I unhooked the oxygen sensor. Now, to make your life easier, don't even try to take this guy here off. Just take this off with the head. This whole EGR system, it's easier, and you can deal with it when it's off. You can break it loose, get the appropriate wrench or whatever, because you really can't get a wrench on there and do any good. You'll just bust your fingers and you'll waste your time. So just pull this off together, and when you lift this up out of there, be careful and don't hit your synchronizer here. And there is one little wire that has a clip here that's kind of pushed in on the side of that head. Make sure that's off. And now I'll go ahead and take my pry bar here, and we'll go ahead, might be able to just take one, there it is. I'm going to pry bar here. I'll go ahead and break it loose there. Alright, it's loose. There we go. Now, I'm probably going to have to set the camera down here. Well, you might be able to see me pull this up out of there. We'll try it this way. My hands are a little greasy, so it may be tough to grab onto this. So we'll see what we can do here. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Wiring harness, you got to kind of wrestle around there, just kind of right here, it'll kind of hit, and I guess it's out, and there it is. Oh, wow. All right, and there is the back head. And here's what I was saying, you know, you can take this off and break this loose now, then you can put it on later, at least it'll be loose, and you can tighten it down. And there's the back of the exhaust, the manifold, I should say. Let me grab my light so you can see a little bit better. Because this is scary, because a lot of times if you can't get these bolts out, it's just, it becomes a mess. So that came off pretty good, and I'll show you where it bolted onto. Right there. That's where it goes. So, there's the back, the head, and there's the back of the engine. And there's the gasket, and wow, yeah, I see where it was leaking. Right there's a place it's bad. Right there, that's where it was bad. Pull this gasket out real quick, since we're almost done here. Wow. That's pretty bad. And it's even got a place there it's bad. It's squished. It's burnt. So, and there's a place there. So, yeah, it's pretty bad. They do that. So, let's do this. Let's go ahead and look at our head. Let me see which way is the best way to flip it around. I'll do it this way. Oh, sucker is heavy. I'm holding the camera at the same time. Wow. So, I hope somebody appreciates this. And there's the back of the head, and we'll look at it real quick. And we want to look for cracks and pitting and all that, and make sure the valves are not broken. And I don't see anything. It looks too bad. But the gasket, yeah, the gasket's toast. So what we'll do is next couple days I'm going to clean all this up, order new gaskets, and I'm going to get a straight edge, and we're going to put that on the side of that block the head, I should say, and verify that it's nice and straight. But hey, I'm happy it's all off. Let me take this out of the way. Give you a nice look at the block. There it is. So by the time from start to just now, this job was about I'm going to say 6-hour job. And I didn't really, hurry. I just kind of took my time at it and took a few breaks here and there over 2 days. And now when I go to put it together, I know where everything goes and how it's supposed to go back together. And it shouldn't be much of an issue. And I think the cylinder was bad was right here because see all the moisture water-wise? There's water there. And there's water there. So the back one was bad. And I'm going to get my shop vac and clean all this out. Check the cylinder walls there. They look okay. I don't see no pitting. No scraping. And I'll get a straight edge, and I'm going to definitely check the block too, make sure it's nice and straight. So, that's the end of the video. This is how you take your heads off. Like I said, you don't have to take that wiring harness off. Just snake it out of the way. And the most difficult things are that manifold bolt back there and the one up there and that power steering unit. Once you get past all that, get that off, then you can get into your block, and it's really no issue. So now I can take all this off and clean it up and put it together. And here are the head bolts. Like I said, these bolts are in good shape. They're not stretched or anything, but I will have to see if they want us to replace these bolts when we put new head gaskets on. I'm not clear on what models I should do that with. So, having said that, thank you for watching the video. And when I go to put it back together, I'll make another video of putting it back together and just give you some tips, and we'll start it up later and see how it goes. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and if you're working on one of these, good luck. Take your time at it, and if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them, but don't get too frustrated. Just stop and come back, and it'll be a lot easier to work on it, especially if you are frustrated and tired. It's easy to get kind of discouraged when you're like that, but looking pretty good. So I guess I'll go inside and get a good night's sleep and go ahead and order head gaskets for this tomorrow and start cleaning things up, and I'll chat with you guys in a few days. It'll probably be, this will be part 2, but I don't know if the next video I make when I put it together, it'll probably be just head gaskets installed or something like that for this Taurus. I don't think I'll do a part 3 because it gets a little confusing. But anyway, I'm done talking. So thanks for watching. Until later.